Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Alright, so today I'm just briefly going to show you guys how to change out fuel lines. We did cover this at the factory briefly, and I don't think that it was visually appealing enough to use that footage, or I'm rather just going to run you guys past this. Alright, so normally this, as you would know, this nipple is sticking out from the hole over here, and it's secured by this M8 bolt. Nut. And basically you just undo the nut and you use a hammer, like a rubber hammer or a small hammer, just to knock it back in, and you get to the fuel line to come out. Alright, this frequently asked of me is, how do you install the fuel line inside the tank, because it looks a bit difficult or complicated. So I'm going to show you guys how to do it. Now you can see with this one, what the customer did was he knocked out the internal part or cartridge of the fuel filter, and I'm going to advise you guys never to do that, but rather replace this on a regular basis. So if you remember the previous video, I showed you guys the carburetor when it was opened up, it had sand inside the carburetor. Well, telltale sign of that. If you got no fuel filter on it, you are asking for trouble to get into your carburetor. The other thing is, I do see a lot of inline fuel filters that gets added on the outside of the machine. I'm also going to recommend that you guys do not use that system. Firstly, because the type of Walbro carburetor that we use, we are pumping fuel up from the very bottom part of the fuel tank. So a weighted down filter, that's why you have the little nut here, all the way down to the bottom of the tank. That is preferable because if you're running low on fuel, you want this thing to be right at the bottom of the tank so it can get to that very last drop. So a shorter fuel line is not going to work. A fuel line that is not weighted down is not going to work. And thirdly, the external fuel filter on the machine, that can add additional air into the fuel line system. So when you are priming, you're struggling to start it. So whenever I've seen guys that come to me and ask me for advice, when they can't get their motor started, and sometimes even I've even seen this on dealers. Sometimes I've seen them have these external fuel filters, and when I rip that out and just put the standard version genuine part back into the fold, everything works perfectly, and the priming and startup system is absolutely normal. All right, so let's get started on this one. It's got a securing clamp over here. I'm just going to undo that. Sorry about the noise, guys. They're busy cutting grass outside because we've got students incoming and we are going to be doing training. All right, remember yesterday I told you guys about not using a knife to cut it off, but rather using a blowtorch or a lighter to get it off. So all I do is I heat it up. This is a very hot one. And that is so hot, it just comes apart. Fairly easy to get rid of the fuel line. Not putting too much strain on the just heating it up. Comes off like butter. Don't have to pluck on this thing too much. Alright, so we got the nipple ready, got the clamp, got the nut. I'm just going to insert a new fuel filter. Now I'm using the one standard from Nirvana is best. I've found one which is a tiny bit heavier and bigger, and therefore it allows me to have an even heavier fuel line sink down to the bottom of the tank. So now how much fuel line, how long should it be? Remember that piece that I cut off was about that much. Just weigh it out, just measure it out. Okay, now I don't want to burn or damage the new one, and so I'm going to put it on the lowest possible heat. Oh, let's even fire up. Lowest possible heat. And the only reason why I want to do this, I just want to make it easier to get the 4mm fuel line over it. See how easy that is if you heat it up. If you burn or damage the fuel line, that's not advisable. And you see with the 4mm, it just makes so much sense because that nut actually just fits on quite nicely onto it. Okay, prepping This rubber is something that's not common to find, but you're going to have to look inside a hardware store. This one's still in good nick, therefore I don't have to replace it. And I put my clamp on, and don't need to heat this one up so much. Might have to, maybe a little bit, we'll see. Nope, fits nicely. 5-minute job to get this replaced. Now comes the hard part, how to get it back in the tank. I'm going to give you guys a little bit of my own personal method regime here. Hold on. So this is the tough part that is usually most confusing for pilots. How do you get the fuel line back in the tank? Now, if you do these replacements on a regular basis and the fuel line is not expired, then I'm not going to recommend that you do not take this out every single time. All you have to do is take a wire, fashion a hook on the end, grab it from inside the port, the fuel port over there, go grab it inside, pull out the fuel filter, and just replace the fuel filter. I replace mine on a regular basis because we got pretty dirty fuel here in South Africa. So that's why I do that. Now, how do I get it back into the tank? All right, so I take the wire and I easily insert that into the fuel line. Now, what I've got to be careful about is that this should actually be a process of not damaging the fuel line or causing any cuts or bruising inside the fuel line. So you see it actually goes in quite nicely, and then I can actually just bend it over. Fashioned in the shape, but I can get it back into the tank. Now, a practiced hand should be quite good at this. There we go. Now, you can't use a direct approach all the time. You've got to be very careful that you don't damage the. That's why I use a screwdriver and I go to where the clamp is and I push it in from there. So I'm not pushing on the wire and on the fuel line. I get it to sink into the tank. And we get that done. If we can get hold of the nipple, then I'm in business. Not even a 5-minute job. So I've got the spacer in place, got the M8 nut on it. I use a lock. I do like using lock nuts. All right, just want to protect the nipple when I grab onto it with the plier. There we go, Bob's your uncle. Next part would be replacing the trimmer, the primer lines, as well as the main fuel line to the engine.